Hi, guys. Welcome. I'm Mary Schaeffer, founder of AP Now, the place where you go for the latest business intelligence you need if you work and manage or have responsibility for the accounts payable or payment functions. I'm joined today by Rob Unger from Nacha, and we'll tell you a little bit more about him and Nacha in a little bit. But we're going to have a kind of fun conversation, and we're going to talk about new products in the payment world. So we really appreciate Rob joining us and also you joining us to discuss the differences. Now, when I invited Rob, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I did not know that he was going to make me take a quiz in front of the entire world. And my goal here is to pass. That's right, just pass. I'm not looking for honors. I'm not looking to graduate summa cum laude. I'm just looking to pass. And it's iffy now. So I'm going to invite you to grab a piece of paper and pencil and take the quiz along with me. And then if you're really brave or you did better than me, which probably won't be hard, you can share how you did in the comments field. So Rob, he's laughing. He's cackling. Why don't you get started?
Oh, sure. Well, first of all, thank you, Mary, for having me on. I'll always enjoy the conversations. And today's topic, I know we're going to be talking about faster instant payments. I'm sure your members, customers have a lot of questions about faster payments. They're probably hearing a lot about it. So we thought we'd start today with a little quiz, a little pop quiz.
Which, by the way, I found out about yesterday afternoon.
Right, but we didn't reveal the content, so this will be fresh. And we do invite the audience to come along, just have a little fun with it. There's no everyone passes, by the way.
Okay, good. I like that. My kind of
there's no wrong answers yet. Right, so Mary, I'm going to name a payment type, and you tell me whether you think it's a fast instant payment, etc. It's just yes or no is the response.
Okay.
And same for the audience here. So let's play along.
And then you're going to tell us what the right answer is at some point?
We'll discuss it, sure.
Okay. So is it, wait, one question, semantics, because I'm trying to pass here. Right answer, when you say instant payment, is it instant or almost instant?
However you define it. We'll get into that later. How maybe I would define it or the industry, but right now just top of mind here. Almost like a Rorschach or something,
Oh boy. Okay.
Like ink spots. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right, check. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Wire.
Almost.
Okay. Almost or maybe. Okay. Cash.
Yes.
Credit card. So Visa, MasterCard. It could be a procurement card, virtual card, credit card.
No.
How about, a lot of people use these payment applications. I'm talking about PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Apple Pay.
I would call them almost instant payments, almost instant, maybe not, the next minute, but, 5-10 minutes.
Okay. How about real-time payments, which is a product from the clearinghouse?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say the clearinghouse wouldn't play bait and switch.
Okay. FedNow.
The true answer is I don't know, but I'm going to say yes.
ACH.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for playing along, Mary. So let's go back.
Did I get anything right?
I think you did, and we're going to discuss the reasons.
Okay.
And the give and take. We'll have some give and take over, why things may or may not be what we call a faster payment. And I think it's a good way to just jump into the whole question of faster payments because we can talk about some differentiators and other kind of drivers, and we'll get into some of that too. So the Federal Reserve Task Force on Faster Payments convened roughly, 2016 to 2018. I participated in that. And they defined a faster payment as a payment in which the transmission of the payment message and the availability of final funds to the payee occur in real time or near real time on or as near a 24-hour, 7-day basis as possible. And so I would note, the faster movement of funds, I think, is really the differentiator in my mind between what is a faster payment and maybe what is more a traditional payment. And the reason why the Federal Reserve convened this task force is to help develop a framework for developing faster payments in the United States. The United States maybe is a little bit behind some other countries in terms of faster payment options. All right, so with whatever definition you had in mind, and the definition I just read from the Faster Payments Task Force, and considering the faster movement of funds as a key differentiator between a traditional and a faster payment, let's go over some of your answers.
Oh, God. Yes, let's.
So check, Mary. I would agree. That is not a faster payment, although checks are getting faster. If you recall, I don't know how many years ago,
Oh, yeah.
There'd be a 3 to 5 day hold on checks.
Float.
Everybody loved to float. And once upon a time, checks flew around the country. I went to the check processing center at the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, and they had their own airport.
Yes.
Banks would fly checks in, and banks would fly checks out, and somebody would pick up the checks, and they would take them and process them. And this was a crazy thing. So in the processing,
and banks would have their lock boxes near the airport.
Exactly, to speed up the time. That was a key differentiator in what banks could do in terms of clearing. Mm-hmm. And as you go through it, you just realize, anybody who thinks checks are a good option, they should have seen this operation. So I went in there, Mary, there were conveyor belts with like shoe boxes full of checks and rubber bands.
Uh-huh.
There were ironing boards. There were 3 ironing boards hanging up. And I said, what are the ironing boards for? And they said, well, sometimes the checks get wrinkled or wet, and they iron the checks. They're ironing checks, and they're flying around the country, So
and that's the U.S. banking system for you.
That's it. So it's certainly improved. You can clear checks, at least consumer checks. You can clear checks now through the ACH using something called ARC, accounts receivable conversion. So anybody who's still writing checks, say for their, Verizon bill or Comcast, once those companies get the check, they'll convert that. They won't fly the check to the processing center. They'll convert it to an ACH debit, and it'll go through the ACH system. There's also another process called Check 21. The Federal Reserve came up with this check imaging system, which can convert, business and consumer checks. So they're getting faster. But Mary, you're right. I would agree with you that a check is not a faster payment.
One right.
Sure. Wire, you said almost, and I'm curious to say why you said wire is almost a faster payment.
I meant almost instantaneously. It doesn't.
Almost. Yeah. Right.
It doesn't get there immediately, but if you get the wire, the reference number, it's almost.
And usually about 30 minutes. Matter of fact, I just sent a wire from my personal account, and they told me the wire would be settled in about 30 minutes. So that's pretty fast.
Yeah.
In fact, that may be about as fast as they come at the moment. But we'll talk.
It's a very expensive way to send money.
Very expensive. Yeah, it cost me $30.
Yeah.
To send that wire payment. Cash, I would agree with you. I think cash is an instant payment. Now, you can't move it from one account to another, right? But in terms of finality, if I've got your money, I'm happy.
You're good as gold.
Right. So I think cash works as a faster payment. Credit card, you said credit card is not a faster payment.
Because it's next day settlement.
You're right. I think a lot of people don't realize that. With credit cards, or procurement cards or virtual cards, whatever people use out there, whether it's American Express or Visa, MasterCard, Discover, you're exactly right, Mary. A lot of people don't know this. What credit card companies do is they provide a risk analysis, and they provide a real-time guarantee of that payment. But the funds actually move by ACH the next day. So that was a good one, Mary. Good catch on that. Payment apps. I'm talking about PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Apple Pay, Chase Pay. You said almost. So tell us about your answer there.
So again, people think instant payment means, I hit the button and it's in your bank account, but it's again not quite that fast. And I don't know what the time frame is for each of the different applications, but I'm going to hazard a guess anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour, possibly longer.
Well, let's peel back some layers on some of these apps,
Hmm.
and they work in different ways. So,
Right.
for example, the traditional PayPal and some of these digital wallets, they really aren't a payment mechanism, but they act as a collector of funds. They do what we call a credit debit model. So
Hmm.
depending on the funding mechanism, you can fund your PayPal with an ACH. You can fund it with a credit card. You could pre-fund it. So depending upon that funding model, can determine the speed of the payment. But you're right. I used to send my daughter, my struggling actress daughter in New York, PayPal payments, and it would take a couple days for her to get it because I
Really?
was
It would
funding
take
it.
that long?
Yeah, I was funding it through my ACH, so they would have to debit my account and then credit her account.
Yeah. Okay.
But and Venmo's kind of the same way, I think. But her bank and my bank both have Zelle. So Zelle is a payment application that used to be kind of like a similar model. It would do the crediting and debiting, but now Zelle is being built on top of the real-time payments network by the clearinghouse. So that is now an instant payment. But again, it takes about 30 minutes. That's what they tell you. So in about 30 minutes after I sent her her last infusion, she got that. Yeah, in about 30 minutes. So depending upon the app, it could be a wallet that's just tied to a funding mechanism like ACH, like a credit card, or in the case of Zelle, it could actually be tied to a real-time payment rail, or in which case it would be an instant payment. The other one's really tied to the other payment rails, so that the timing's really dependent on that. So that was a good answer there too, Mary. Um, uh, Real-time payments, a product of the clearinghouse. And by the way, that is a trademarked name.
Yes.
So when we talk about faster payments, we talk about faster and instant, but typically we shy away from saying real-time payments because that is an actual specific
Trademark
product.
name.
So
Right.
you said real-time payments. Yes, that would be a faster payment.
Okay.
Yeah, and I agree that that's a faster payment. The clearinghouse is a private sector operator of payment systems. So they're one of the operators of the ACH network. They are one of the operators of the wire system. They have the CHIPS wire system, and they've developed an actual new payment rail called real-time payments in which to move funds. Okay, FedNow. You said,
Okay. Keep
oh, go
going.
ahead.
Sorry.
Okay, so FedNow, you said you weren't sure, but probably yes.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah, so FedNow is really the public is going to be the public sector equivalent of the clearinghouse's real-time payments. So the Federal Reserve, again, is a payment system operator. They're also an operator of the ACH network, and they are the operator of a wire system called FedWire. And they're developing a real-time payment network as well to be called FedNow, but it's not available yet. They're saying the launch will be in phases, the first phase beginning 2023. All right. I think the one I'm going to question you on, Mary, is ACH. You said no, that is not a faster payment.
When I was talking about it's not real time or almost real time, because
Right.
as I understand it, and I'm prefacing it that way, it's next day settlement.
You're right. But there's an update as well.
Okay,
So,
tell me about that.
well, in ACH we
Oh, you're
have,
right.
you remember like Coke, you had classic Coke and new Coke.
Yes.
So in
Yes.
ACH we have classic ACH, and classic ACH, you're right, is next day settlement. And
I wasn't thinking about your new innovation.
right. But now, and we're going on, we just hit our 5-year anniversary. We hit the 5th year anniversary of same day ACH. So same day ACH, we do consider a faster payment.
Oh, yeah.
It settles in about 3 hours,
Okay.
and we're getting some great progress and pickup on same day ACH. So there you have that. That's the quiz. I thought that was
So I think I passed. I wouldn't say I got any honors, but one of the things that I find really interesting about same day ACH is that I remember when you came out with it. It wasn't that long ago. Well, my age, 5 years isn't a whole long time. But
Yeah, I agree.
anyway, you started, if I remember, with $25,000, and at the time, everyone said $25,000. That's it. We're not doing any more. And now you're going to $1 million in a few months.
Yeah, and you're right. So there was a cap when same day ACH came out. There was some concern about let's put some brakes on it, just to see if we're able to keep up with the fraudsters. And yeah, there really have not been any issues in that sense. And you're right. So over time, 5 years ago, when same day ACH came out, it was for credits only. So think about payroll. It wasn't for debits. Where for a debit ACH, for example, is where you give your routing and account number to Verizon, and they pull the funds from your account. So it was credit only. The limit was $25,000, but fast forward 5 years here. As of March this year, the cap is going to be $1 million, and credits and debits are both available for consumer payments and business payments.
So, one of my concerns with the payment system in general, anytime I have to use it outside the norm, is the horrific cost of wire transfers.
Yeah.
I'm always, well, you said $30. I recently done international ones for 45, so don't feel bad. Do you see all these new innovations eventually eating into that market, the wire transfer market?
Yeah, it could. Just like ACH and credit cards and the payment apps have all eaten into checks.
Yeah.
I think when you talk about speed of payment, it could possibly encroach on wire volume. But I think ultimately, people are going to make decisions based on a number of factors. Cost, of course, is a big one. Speed, do I need it there in 30 minutes or 3 hours, or can I do it the next day?
Right.
Whether or not we can do credits or debits. Of the I don't know, 25 billion with a B transactions that went through the ACH network, maybe 2/3 were consumer debits. So this is a very popular way to pay, where you give your routing and account number and you have your funds pulled. Businesses use it too. The ACH is the only payment system that allows debits. All the rest are credit only. So decisions are going to be made based on cost, speed, whether or not you can do a credit or debit. Going to be based on ubiquity. So the ACH, for example, you can reach any bank account in the U.S. Via the ACH. All the other ones have some limitations. They're trying to expand coverage, but no other payment type has the ubiquity of the ACH. You're going to make decisions based on payment limits, the ability to do error correction, and all these the real-time payments and all these, what we call push payments, wires. You send the money and it's gone. There's no, you can ask for it back, but there's no way to correct an error or to adjudicate that. In the ACH, there is. There are ways to accommodate and try to correct errors. Decisions will be made on messaging capabilities as well. How much remittance information can I include? The ACH can include, 9,999 characters of remittance information. Yeah, so people are going to, that's a great point though, but people are going to base decisions based on, cost, speed, credit or debit ability, ubiquity, payment limits, error reconciliation, messaging. It maybe sounds overwhelming, but I think as people understand what their priorities are in terms of a payment, the options become apparent.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can come from the real estate world, the commercial real estate world, and we'd have closings where the dollar amount was 50 million, $100 million, some huge amount of money. And even if ACH would cover it, same day ACH, I can't see a bank being happy to take a loan payoff, for example, of that magnitude, knowing that within 24 hours.
Yeah, so with that amount of money, people are really looking for finality in real estate development. You're right. So the wire is a great option.
Yeah. So, I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but maybe you could tell our audience a little bit about Nacha and how it fits into the payment landscape, which you kind of hit it a few times, but let's, address it.
Well, Nacha stands for the National Automated Clearinghouse Association. We are a nonprofit. And essentially, we are the governing body for the automated clearinghouse network. So we develop, I got a little show and tell here.
Oh, good.
We develop where are we here?
I see it.
The
Good.
Nacha rules.
Ooh.
And what the Nacha rules do is provide a basis for interoperability among all the thousands and thousands of banks and as well as the millions of businesses and consumers that use the ACH. The rules define how transactions flow, the data formats, the warranties, all that kind of stuff. And the transactions themselves actually go through one of two operators, the Federal Reserve or the clearinghouse. So at Nacha, that's our job. We're kind of the guardians and the stewards of the ACH. We develop the rules, we enforce the rules, and we develop innovations to help people make better use of the ACH as well.
And the same day ACH and the $1 million limit is a fine example.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Before we get into some of the faster payment options, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. It's completely private. You can unsubscribe at any time. And by ringing the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube, you'll be notified when we post new content, which we do 2 or 3 times a week. And by the way, you don't need a YouTube account to subscribe. You can subscribe if you have a Gmail account. Okay, so Rob, when we talk about faster payment options, for the U.S., where do you see corporates going for their, day-to-day bills?
Yeah, so corporates come in all different flavors and sizes. Maybe some of your members are, single proprietor, small business. They're writing checks. Maybe they're using online banking. Maybe a small business portal at their bank. Larger companies are using, ERPs, enterprise resource systems, to help do their payments, treasury workstations. I think as people are trying to learn about it, certainly nacha.org is a resource, but also, your account representative at your bank or your ERP, or if you're using a payment processor, those are good places to start to really get an idea about what the options are and what makes sense generally for what you do, and what makes sense when you have an exception, when you have a need for a real-time payment.
So when I talk about payments, going back anyway a few years, I usually talk about, well, people have options, checks, ACH, cards, and wire transfers. Do you think we're about to add some real Zelle, et cetera?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's a growth area. I know the Zelle people would love that. And we're seeing, when I first started, you couldn't use credit cards for a B2B payment. Now they have virtual cards and procurement cards. So yeah, I think we always seem to add more payment options, and we never seem to reduce.
No, you can't get rid of
or
payment.
eliminate. Yeah, you can't get rid of it, right?
Yeah. Okay. So what role do you see Nacha playing in this whole initiative?
Yeah, I think we're going to continue our role in terms of faster payments. We're going to evolve same-day ACH. As you've seen just in the progression, we've gone from credit only to including debits. We've gone from $25,000 to $1 million in the payment amount. So we're going to continue to improve that. We're going to continue to increase the windows so that there will be more options. We can include the West Coast in settlement windows. So that's going to be some great innovations. And we're doing things as well to try to make it easier to exchange and verify information. We have a new product called Fixius, where we're helping companies exchange data, and as well as being able to verify that data. We understand that's a huge issue when you talk about AP controls and maintaining proper stewardship of your vendor master, or if you're on the receivable side, your customer master. So we're looking to help companies do that too.
Okay. All right. So looking down the road, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, how do you think corporates will be paying their bills?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, speed's going to be increasing. I think when you talk about B2B payments, it's interesting. I think it was 2006 or 2007 that the volume of consumer electronic payments surpassed checks. and we're just getting into that now. So I think in a lot of ways it's going to follow the consumer trends. More payment options, more speed, better information.
And my theory, and you'll tell me if you agree or disagree, because we saw this a little bit during COVID, is that with the U.S. Post Office saying the mail is going to be slower, we're going to see a further departure away from paper checks and to other alternatives, mainly, in my opinion, ACH, except for maybe small businesses will rely more on credit cards.
Sure. It's easier for them, yeah.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna have to admit we put most of our bills on the credit card. Then it's one bill and a few other odd ones, but it's easier.
Sure.
Okay. All righty. Well, this was really interesting. Do you have any words of advice for our audience, for those people who are responsible for paying those bills day in and day out?
Yeah, checks are crazy. Look at other options. We think ACH is a great option, both the debit and the credit. So, of
Right.
course,
Whichever way you want to go, right?
Right.
All right. Well, that's great, Rob. I appreciate all your insights. Earlier this year during AP Technology Week, Rob and I were joined by Lynn Lawson for an interesting exploration into the technology and payment process. It was episode 101 of the AP Now podcast. On YouTube, a link will appear to the left. As always, I greatly appreciate those thumbs up, those comments, those shares, and those subscribes. And of course, Rob Unger for sharing all his wonderful insights.